What if I could show you how to maximize what matters most and minimize or do less of what matters least? By the end of this video, I'll have walked you through a resource to know what is important over this next semester or season in your life and what isn't important. My name's Daniel Barnes, and I'm a college student and young adult, and one of the things that I have is a free resource for you down below, which is how to get the most out of this next semester or season of life. And in this video, I'm actually going to be walking through this document, filling it out myself, and then showing you, even throughout the rest of this semester, how it helps me personally. So what I would recommend if you're watching this video is go to the description, hit that link, and either create a copy so you can do this as a Google Doc or print it out and go along in this video with me. And if you're not going to do this right now, go ahead and favorite it or hit it into your watch later playlist, so that way you can come back to it when you're at the beginning of the semester and you want to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here with you guys. So this is the document. Again, it's in the description down below. Go ahead and grab that. And this is, I should actually make sure that this is the copy. Okay, just to make sure it doesn't mess up your guys' document in the process. So this is what it's going to look like for you guys. And really where I started this from is a place of what's most important. And so I want you to think about this next semester and imagine that at the end of this semester, in the middle of May, that you are going to die. That at the end of this semester, this is going to be the end of your life. I know you may be like, oh my goodness, Daniel, that's so like heavy and intense. And I don't want to do this lightly. And there's also some level of truth to this, that we really don't know how long we're going to be here for or not. And this concept comes from a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And what it talks about is choosing to stay in school for the last semester of our lives and saying, okay, if that were true, how would we choose to live? And how would it be different than maybe how we are currently living? And so as you're going through this, I kind of made some prompts for you to write out of, if I knew I was going to die in 4 or 5 months, I'd be grateful for breath. I'd be grateful for my family. I'd be grateful for phone calls, even for Zoom calls. And what this can do is it can start to show you what are the things I'd be grateful for. Who are the people that I maybe haven't forgiven, that with this in mind, I would choose to forgive. Maybe I'd remember to say, I love you more to my family and friends that are close to me. Maybe I'd make sure to appreciate the friends and family that are in my life on a more consistent basis. And then the fifth question of, what are the things that are really important? What are the things that matter? And am I valuing them to the highest degree, to the degree that I would with this in mind? And with this too, like how much you get out of it will be in direct proportion to how much you choose to actually visualize yourself in this space where you are going to die, and then say, man, this is how I'd live in the face of potentially dying. And so after you've done that, which I know it's not an easy thing to do or a simple thing to do, the next thing that I'm going to invite you to do is to look at your semester. Look at this next quarter, this next 3 to 5, 6 months of your life. And I want to introduce you to what's called the Pareto Principle, or the 80-20 rule, which is that 80% of our efforts create 20% of the results, and 20% of our efforts create 80% of the results. So there's a direct link of what's most important to us creates the highest level of results. And so in our context, it makes me think, okay, so now what are the classes? And this is something that I didn't know you could do, which is in a class, even if you've got 4, 5, 6 classes, whatever it is, we can choose which classes are most important to us and put the most effort into them. I hated that we had to take certain classes in college because a lot of them I felt were not necessary, not useful. It's just a way for the college to make more money and force you to take classes that are not valuable. And one of the things that I realized, though, about 2 semesters ago was, okay, even if I have to take these classes, I can maximize the classes that are most important to me. And that's a human need to have autonomy, to have some level of control. And if we can give that to ourselves, we can start to shift and create a higher level of internal power and self-control to actually be able to get what it is that we want out of the experience, and thus we're able to put more effort into it. So right here, we list our classes. So I'm actually going to do this. So I've got an ocean, oceanography, something like that. And then I've got 2 business classes. I want to say ENTR 189, I think. It's entrepreneurship 189. And then I've got Latin American art. So, and what you would be doing here is putting in your own classes. Oceanography, that, and then I've got a finance class, finance 138. 38. So go ahead and put in your own classes. And then I've got another class, technically, called this SEA, Sacramento Entrepreneurship Academy. So once you've got all your classes here, then what you're going to do is actually go in and say, okay, of these classes, what is the class that I want? Like, which of these classes is most important to me? And do I not only want to get an A, but beyond that, do I want to have learning that goes beyond just the classroom environment? And so I think for me in this setting, I think both for me, oceanography, I am okay with getting a B in that class. Like, I think it'll be really interesting, but I don't need to, like, I want to do well, but I don't need to crush that class. Because I think it'll be really interesting anyway, so being able to do that won't be that hard. But I also I just don't need to put all the effort to get an A into that class. And that's something that used to be really hard for me to do. And I'm realizing more and more that not getting all A's is not, like, it doesn't destroy you. Like, you can get A's and B's, and that can be okay. I didn't used to think that way. And then I think with 189, I want an A. And, actually, I think with Latin American art, I do want an A. And then with finance 138, I'd be okay with a B. And the reason why that is I know that finance, Latin American art, I went to Ecuador, I speak Spanish, and so being able to not just get an A, but actually have a strong understanding of art in Latin America, that will be a really valuable thing for me to understand why. And especially if there ends up being art that's Ecuadorian art, that will be especially valuable to me, because it will show, like, I will have been in some of the places maybe in Ecuador that have those. And so once you have the B's and A's, and then I guess this one, I do want to put full effort into this one. So this would be an A as well. So once you have your classes and you've kind of quantified, okay, I want B's, I want A's, or maybe I want C's and B's, or maybe just C's, depending on where you are and what your goals are. I want you to go through and ask yourself, okay, why do I want a B in oceanography? Why do I want an A in Entrepreneurship 189? And I would say with some of these classes, like for this one, it's a startup. And so the reason why I want an A in both the Sacramento Entrepreneurship Academy in terms of effort and Entrepreneurship 189 is because this is building or gives me the ability to have a foundation to be able to grow a startup company from zero to actually having financials, actually having a marketing plan, having a pitch deck built out. And so these things are something that I can see I may want to use these skills in the future, and thus I want to put the effort in today to build out this skill set to be able to apply it later in my life. So that's a higher level of value than I just want an A so that way I can have a 4.0. But it's actually going beneath that and saying, okay, cool, you want a 4.0. Why? Why does that matter to you? And why does that matter, at least for me, it has to matter beyond just the classroom. And if it's applicable to my life, I care so much more. And if it's only for a grade, as much as I would love to have all A's, that's okay. I don't need to have all A's in my life. So there's some room right here for you to actually write that out and say why this is. So, and I've got written in this doc, you want to circle which grade. So if you print that out, you can do that. And then the other thing here is just this thought of remembering where we are and what's most important to us. And like for me, I'm going to have an internship. I may be playing drums or teaching drum lessons as well. And so I'm going to be working 20, maybe 30 hours each week in addition to being in school full-time and doing the Sacramento Entrepreneurship Academy. And so there is this healthy level of expectation of ourselves of realizing if we're doing a lot of things, that's okay. And we have to be realistic about our own energy and our own ability to do things. And so that's a part of why I'm choosing to not get A's in everything, because I understand that that means that I can do a little bit less in some of these classes, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that outcome. And that's the thing that can be really important. So after we've done that and we've thought about, okay, why do I want this grade? I want you to, again, visualize this and create a high level of emotion inside of yourself and say, okay, it is now May 15th, May 17th, whatever it is, or the end of May, and grades have come in for the classes that I wrote out above. And I want you to imagine, okay, I didn't get these grades, and then I want you to think to yourself and go, okay, I didn't get these grades because. And so for me, I'm going to say I didn't get these grades because I didn't study a small amount on a daily basis. Really simple. I didn't do the homework or didn't do the reading. It can also be I didn't choose to sleep enough and valued hanging out with people or doing other things more than that. And so basically you can go through and look in your mind and go, okay, what are the things? And you can think about past semesters. So for me, it can be I didn't have like a rhythm on a weekly basis of how I do the schoolwork that I need to do. Or I wasn't I wasn't organized enough to know when homework was due. And then you do this same thing of visualizing yourself already at the end of the semester, and you're going back and you did get the grades. Like, you did it. Heck yeah. And I want you to like really play that out and feel that emotion, and then go, hey, I did get these grades I wanted because, and then you fill that out and go, hey, I did that because why? I had an environment to study in that was conducive, whether that's a coffee shop, whether that's your room, or a quiet space somewhere on campus, to study effectively. And it can also be like one of the things that I got better at this last semester but still haven't nailed is studying a small amount in each class on a daily basis, because it can be really easy to go 3-4 days without studying for one of the 4 or 5 classes I have. But if I do a small amount, so one of the things that would help me succeed is I had a 1-hour block daily to study each class's material. So that would be one thing I know I can do 10 minutes, or even just 5 minutes of each one. So that would be 30 minutes. 30 minutes / 1 hour block. One of those two. And I scheduled it. Because it's one thing to go, okay, I know I should do this thing. It's another thing to actually schedule it and do that. So, and then if basically by answering those questions, you'll have a really strong idea of what are the things that could hold you back, knowing your environment. And the one thing is, this does take some self-awareness. So if the more you're aware of how your environment affects you, how you are throughout the semester, of do you start really well, do you finish really well, like where are you on that? I know that I start really strong, and I tend to, at some point in either the middle of the semester or towards the end of the semester, that's the hardest part for me. And so if you can know that about yourself, of at what point is it the most challenging, and you can maximize that or create some sort of structure or way of overcoming that limitation, then that's going to serve you really well. And that's kind of where this last piece comes in, is who are the people that can hold you accountable to what you want to achieve. Because it's one thing if you write this out, but then you never tell anyone. But if you share it with one person or 3 people, and you say, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and you actually go back and you say, hey, one of the things that I'm committing to doing is studying for 30 minutes every day. And you tell them, hey, I'm going to do this. If I don't, you can use this concept of the pain-pleasure principle of, if you do this, and you can do this on a rolling 7-day basis, of every 7 days, you can just report to them and go, hey, of the last 7 days, I did my 30-minute studying block every single day. Or I did it 5 out of 7 days, if that's your goal. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly what I'm doing, but it can be applied to your circumstance. And if you choose to involve other people in this process, your likelihood of success is going to increase. And that's really a big part of why I have this YouTube channel, of why I'm sharing these ideas, is to create a community of young adults and college students who want to grow in accountability, in growing, and it's an encouraging sense of accountability. So if you had a week where you only studied 2 or 3 out of the 7 days, it's not a like shame or blame or guilt. It's asking, hey, what were the distractions or different things that happened this week that didn't allow you to grow in this way? So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm gonna I'm super grateful for you watching all the way to the end here. I know this was a long one, but I hope it's been really valuable to you. I know it's been valuable for me going through this process. So please give this a like if you've been enjoying that, and go ahead and subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to continue to provide more valuable stuff towards college students and young adults who want to grow and develop character by majoring in the majors and minoring in the minor things of life. Adios.